Hey everyone, this is Joe. At the top of the episode, I'm just going to give a warning that we do spoil pretty much all of Knights of the Old Republic. That's the first KOTOR game. And we also talk a bit about the ending of the first Mass Effect game and discuss a little bit about the other Mass Effect games. So if you don't want spoilers for those things, maybe skip this episode or, play those games and then come back to it.
Look, it's us, your favorite, Sarah and Joe podcasts. There's no other
You thought you heard the end of
Sarah
us.
and Joe before us.
But we could record as much audio as we want. Nobody can stop us.
That's right. It's
We
only
bought
more work
a
for me.
Yeah. We bought an RSS subscription that lets us upload as much
That's
text
right.
audio as we
Getting
want.
that usage. Oh, man.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Anyway,
So
we're recording this extra session.
yes, we just finished recording our 4th episode of the podcast, and we decided to restrain ourselves and do a separate recording where we talk about Knights of the Old Republic, or I guess Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, which was a Xbox, original Xbox exclusive game that came out probably in I don't know, maybe 2002 or something.
I'm pulling it up right now.
2003. November 19th, 2003. It only has very positive reviews on Steam. I know it wasn't released here on Steam, but everyone should have given it overwhelming positive reviews. But anyway, so Joe's playing it for the first time. This is one of my probably favorite games. I played it a bunch as a kid when I was around 12. Because I only got to play it when I went to my dad's house, which was every 2 weeks. So instead of hanging out with my dad, I just played this game instead. It's so good. So Joe, what was that planet called that you were just on with the?
Okay. So this is a game that uses the gameplay wise, it uses Dungeons and Dragons type mechanics.
But it's 1,000 years before 4,000 years before the movies of Star Wars. So it's the Old Republic and not the New Republic that's in the movies.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with the
you should only be listening to this
lineage of Star Wars. Well, maybe we'll talk about other stuff. But okay, so basically so Star Wars, the prequels take place in the Republic. And then there's the expanded universe in Star Wars, which is all this other stuff, mostly books and novels and stuff, right? Around and some comics. Stuff that takes place even further in the past. That's kind of the Old Republic setting. But this is a game that takes place in the setting, which is, as Sarah said, some 1,000 years before the game.
Developed by Bioware.
Right.
Who is one of my favorite developers.
Canon anymore, is it?
No, it's not. Freaking Disney. God damn it.
Although I think there is some stuff that's lifted from these plot lines and put into
they certainly ripped off Revan's face mask for Kylo Ren, didn't
the
they?
Mandalorian stuff. They totally did. Anyway, so the plot is of Knights of the Old Republic. It takes place. Okay, so I guess what happens.
Here's the thing.
So, I'm gonna set up some more stuff. Sorry, I'm so scatterbrained on this.
No, you're good. No, okay.
You lead.
Yep. Okay. So, Nice Little Republic. You start off. You're on a Republic cruiser ship or something. You're just a low-ranking soldier who's kind of newly assigned to this ship, and it gets attacked
it's a little bit different
by
than
the
that.
Sith.
It's a little bit.
Well, basically,
a little bit more
you start
than that.
off as the typical RPG, I'm just a nobody, or I don't remember, things from my past. And then you, let's see. Well, I guess in the setting of this, the Sith there was a big okay, so, oh, no, I'm messing this up.
All
the
right,
Mandalorian War!
Yeah. Okay, so some years before the game starts, the Mandalorians, which are a group of
mercenaries, kind of.
Well, they're a warrior race of people on this planet called Mandalore, have decided that they are going to start fights. And their whole thing, Mandalorian's whole thing is that, they love battle. They love to, fight strong opponents, that kind of thing. And they want to fight the Republic, which is like kind of the hegemonic power in the universe right now. Again, I'm going to draw some parallels. This is exactly like Gundam. Anyway, so the Republic's the hegemonic power. They don't have enough, like,
I just had
stuff
to Google what that meant. Hegemonic.
Yeah.
Ruling or dominant in a political or social context. For anyone else who
Yes,
didn't
they're
know.
a hegemonic, liberal, ineffectual government, kind of like the U.S.
I haven't heard that before.
The Mandalorians want to fight them, but they can't fight them directly. So what they're doing is they're attacking all of the like neutral planets, like one by one, to try to like bait the Republic into attacking them. Right? The Republic just sees this and decides to do absolutely nothing, including the Jedi, which at this point...
So the Jedi are kind of like, they're not technically a part of the Republic, but they have been assisting the Republic, but they don't like follow orders by the Republic. So they've decided to stay neutral on the issue. And so a lot of the younger Jedi who are more like involved or more emotional decide to defect from the Jedi, because they're like, we gotta go help fight the Mandalorians, even though the Jedi Masters are like, no. And so those people like go rogue and desert the Jedi and fight in the war. And
but the two biggest ones are Malik and Revan. Those two. So Revan is the senior one, and Malik is like the apprentice one. They decide that they're going to join the Republic and actually start fighting the Mandalorians, because the Republic's finally get into it, and they have a big fight there. Revan and Malik are extremely good at like fighting, and they're able to rout the Mandalorians, kind of winning the fight there. And then
they become
Malik and Revan take some of their army, or take some of the Navy, like the Space Navy, go off somewhere for a couple years, and then they show back up with an enormous army, and they're now the Sith, and they're like, we're gonna take over everything. And so that's kind of the setting. That's the setting, at least. And then
before the game
starts. Yeah, do you want to set that up?
Yeah, I guess everything, Sith are kind of a problem that the Republic's been dealing with since that all took place. And I guess it probably because they felt responsible that their former allies from the Jedi became the Sith are now causing those issues, that they're now responding by sending out Jedi to address these Sith, even though they didn't.
Yeah, well, it's both like Malik and Revan turned a lot of Jedi to their own cause, right? Because you fight a lot of like Sith Jedi in this. So part of it is like these are their own guys, and part of it is also like some of their people defected, straight up.
So they're now handling it themselves. So they have like this promising apprentice named Bastila, who has like this knack for something called battle meditation, which I feel like I don't fully understand. But essentially, it's like
that's
a tactical.
They never explain it.
Maybe that's why. Basically, so
she doesn't even like she joins your party and she doesn't even have that ability. It makes no sense.
I'm assuming it's some kind of like premonition, foresight-ish thing that helps turn the tide of battle to whoever has that ability side. So she's kind of our character on that ship I mentioned earlier. It goes down, crashes on a planet called Terrace, and it turns out Bastila had been on that ship as well. So you wake up with a guy who had met on the ship called Karth, who's kind of like a commanding officer. And he's saying like, oh, we got to find Bastila. She's important for the Republic to win this war against the Sith. So you're just like, okay, I'll tag along.
Well, and at this point, like, Bastila is famous because she has confronted Darth Revan and defeated them.
Yeah.
Well, they defeated Revan. Like, Revan's out. Everyone's like, well, Revan's fucking dead. So it's basically just Malik now, but it is Malik and, like, the entire Sith Navy, which is enormous. And so Malik is trying to hunt down Bastila because she knows that she killed Revan, and you're trying to find Bastila because it's like, well, clearly if she could beat Revan, she could beat Malik, right?
Yeah.
And so that's where you find yourself at the beginning of the game, like after the tutorial thing.
Yep.
I guess we're going to just spoil parts of this game, right? So this is like a spoiler cast.
It's like a 20-year-old game, so I think it's okay.
It's true. But just like...
But at the time, it was like outstanding and a huge plot twist we hadn't really seen much before in games. Kind of like
if
the
you
Metroid
want to play this
reveal.
game, I would go and just start playing this game now. I mean,
stop
everything we
listening
said
to
up to this
us.
point is just the setting.
Yes.
You already know all this stuff. It's not, none of that stuff is spoilers. But the rest of it, like, this is a pretty good game. It holds up after time.
Yeah.
After all this time.
Because
It's
this
like,
is
very
your
fun
first
to
time
play.
playing it, right?
This is my first time playing it. There's a couple of gameplay things. I'm playing this along with the More Civilized Age podcast. So they cover all the Clone Wars and stuff, but they took during the writer's strike, they started playing this game. They have some, I did everything in like a specific order because it's like what they recommended. There's a couple of other things that, like, if you play certain versions of the game, your game might crash or like corrupt if you do some stuff. So you might want to look some things up.
Which version are you playing on off Steam?
I'm playing on Steam. So
Okay,
I'm playing on the PC
I played
version.
it because I bought it on Steam to replay, much later after I'd played it on the Xbox as a kid. I still have my original copies of KOTOR 1 and 2 for the Xbox. But I replayed it on Steam I replayed it on Switch, and that I didn't really have issues with on the Switch version. I think Steam
Yeah, the
might
Switch
not be
one
as good.
is pretty stable. The other thing to take into account that they mention a lot is don't look up
the plot.
guides or anything on Wikipedia about this game because it spoils a huge thing almost immediately on every single page.
So you did not do that. So it wasn't
No,
spoiled
I didn't
for
look
you.
at any of
Okay,
that stuff.
good.
Yeah. So if you want to play it, I would just turn this off and go and play it and then come back and listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
Highly recommend.
Okay.
So good.
All right. So, where I'm at in the game, I have done 3 of the planets. I did Tatooine, Kashyyyk, and Manon.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm on the 6th planet.
God, how annoying is walking in that suit underwater? Am I right? So
Oh,
fucking
dude,
slow.
I hate that. It's so bad. It's slow. I had to do Manon, and then I did the Leviathan, which is where you get the big plot twist.
Mm-hmm.
And in that one, you have to walk around outside the ship. So it's like I had to do it in Manon, and then I immediately had to do it again on the Leviathan. I'm like, oh my god.
Oh, yes.
So, how do we want to talk about this?
What, the big giant plot twist? Okay, so essentially, you kind of rescued Bastila because she had been taken prisoner because people realize she's a Jedi, which is kind of a rare thing. So, the Terrace is like your introductory planet. It's pretty long though, and it's a cool planet.
It's pretty long. It's a big planet.
And
you beat Mission and
yes, I
Zalbar.
love Mission and Big Z.
Mission is a
Twi'lek.
14-year-old.
Is she
Twi'lek.
14?
She's 14.
Holy shit! Okay, I didn't
This is
realize
why
she was
everyone's
so
like,
young.
you're just a kid, Mission.
Okay.
And then Zalbar is a Wookiee.
Yes. Yeah, they're great.
And they join your team.
Yes.
And then you also get T3.
T3, a droid. Never use him.
It's a little
Never.
Astro mech droid.
Yep.
Like R2
Yeah.
is.
But essentially, you
He's great.
rescue Bastila. You guys escape Terrace because it turns out Malik found out she's there. So he's like, I'm just going to destroy the whole goddamn planet to ensure that she's dead. So freaking Terrace gets destroyed.
Oh, you also get a Mandalorian ally.
Oh, yeah. Nope. Canderous.
Canderous is cool. Sorry, I'm listing off all the people on the team.
As a 12-year-old girl, I did not care for him.
Oh yeah, too bad
I was
he
like,
owns.
I'm so tired of hearing
Too
all
bad
your
he's like
war
one of your best
stories.
companions in terms of attacks. His war stories are cool though.
See, we have such different. But anyways, yeah, you escape. So Terrace got killed for nothing.
Yeah.
You escape to
All those people dead.
Yes, Dantooine, which is the conclave of Jedis. No, I know it sounds familiar. Basically, that's
If
where
you
the
beat the
Jedi
fake Jedi
Academy
Council.
is.
They have a fake
sad.
council there. The real council's on Coruscant. These guys are not those guys.
Jeez. Yes. I guess
You meet fake Yoda.
he's just a dude of the same species that I don't remember the name of. But basically, it's like, oh, you have the potential of the Force, or you and Bastila have you like start sharing the same dream. It turns out you're kind of connected through the Force, so she kind of becomes like your, I don't know,
Your buddy.
yeah. Well, she kind of begrudgingly is doing it. She's kind of like abrasive when you first meet her.
She's kind of being a huge jerk about it. Like you meet, but like the thing that's really funny is that like you're with Karth, and Karth is like he's like an ace pilot for the Republic, but he like doesn't trust anybody because he's been burned before. And if you talk about him enough times, it turns out that like his old
superior
general, his superior officer he was really close with, and he's like, oh, I'm like basically your apprentice, was one of the people that went off with Malik and Revan and came back as a Sith guy and like led an entire attack on Kar's home planet that got his wife and kid killed.
Fucked up.
So he's like, I don't trust anybody. I don't know who you are.
Justifiably.
Like, you were on that ship. Yeah, no, Karth makes sense. He's like, you're on that ship. Nobody knew who you were. You were like a last minute addition to the ship's manifest because Bastila asked you to be there. Like, who are you? And you're like, bro, I don't know. I don't remember shit. I'm a video game character. And he's like, yeah, that's weird, man. Like, that's weird? I think that's weird. But you're the only person I have, and we gotta find Bastila, so that's it. And then you meet Bastila, and she's like a huge asshole. Like, you save Bastila, and she's like, I kind of saved myself there, so, like, I don't really know if you should get credit for it. Anyway, what are we doing?
That's
this is the best you guys could do?
She's like an apprentice, but she gets kind of scolded by the Jedi, I guess, not council, or just, like, the Jedi masters that she's apprenticed to. That's, like, her big issue. She's got, like, a pride thing where as a Jedi you're supposed to kind of remain neutral and not experience any extreme emotions because that's like the lure of the dark side, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So but that's like her, she got like a freaking chip on her shoulder because she's like, I'm a hot shit, I freaking battle meditation and crap. And
I mean, to be fair, she did beat Revan, so I would also be like, maybe I am hot shit.
Yes.
Also, you land on Dantooine and it's presented for the first time that she's a Padawan, and you're like, what?
Yeah, she's not a master.
What? You killed the Dark Lord Revan and you're a Padawan?
Yeah.
Like, come on, what is happening? You should be a knight at least.
That's true.
It's called Knights of the Old Republic. What's happening?
That's true. But basically, yeah, you find out you have this link. You end up training as a Jedi. That's the whole like Dantooine thing.
Because she's like, oh, you're definitely force sensitive. I'm gonna bring you to the council. And the council's like, yeah, normally we wouldn't train somebody this old, but like, I don't know, you're connected with Bastila, things are weird, we'll give it a shot.
Yep. And you end up exploring these ruins that you discover there's something called a star map that, you know, it turns out Revan and Malik had visited this star map because they like returned they were powerful, and that's because they had found the thing at the end of this map. So you're like, okay, we're gonna retrace their steps to find out what it is that they obtained that gave them this immense power so that we can then know how to counter it.
Yeah, like the big unknown of this game is like Revan and Malik left with like some guys, like basically like a small fleet, and they came back with like a huge ass army, and nobody knows where any of these guys came from or any of this stuff came from.
Yeah.
And that's what they're like, that's what the quest for the star map is figuring out. Like, this is probably where they got all this stuff. What is this place?
Yeah. So yeah, each planet you go to has a different fragment of this map. So you have to like go to all these different maps or these planets and, you know, whatever order you want. Although I guess there's some advisement on which order you should do it. But in theory, you can do it however you want. So Tatooine, Kashyyyk, Manon, is that the only? Korriban, which is the Sith Academy.
Yeah, so basically Tatooine is Tatooine. Y'all know Star Wars. It's the same exact, it looks exactly the same as it always does. Kashyyyk is where the Wookiees are from. So it's like a big jungle area and the Wookiees are there. Manon is like a bunch of fish people.
I like that planet. It's pretty.
That planet is mostly just like...
I remember it pretty vividly.
Okay, we can talk about that one separately, but yeah.
No, but yeah, you like pick up a new person for your party along the way. Also, your ship name is the Ebon Hawk, which is cool. It's a lot like the Millennium Falcon.
You steal that shit from a guy.
Yes, you steal it from like a freaking...
like a smuggler guy, like a mob boss dude.
Yes. So, yeah, we got Mission, Big Z from Terrace. Oh, and I guess Karth and Bastila from Terrace. And then we get... freaking droid, and Cantor. So a lot of them on that first planet, although it is a long planet. And then you pick up Bindi Jolie, who's like an old hermit Jedi who's living on Kashyyyk. Yeah, I would carry him a lot with me.
I think we should just go through. Let's talk about planets in order. I'll talk about planets in order that I did them. So I went to Tatooine first because it's like it's Tatooine, yeah, you know, whatever. You show up there. You get the best party member there, which is a droid named HK-47.
Oh, yeah.
First off, okay, in the menu, you can see every character, and you can see if they're light side or dark side aligned based on like what the background is, and they have like there's like a light side dark side system in the way that there's like a Paragon Renegade system in Mass Effect where it's like if you do nice things you get light side points, and if you do evil things you get dark side points or whatever. The droid is evil.
Yeah.
The droid is like fully red. It's so funny. I love HK.
Yeah, he's
like this droid.
Well, it turns out he was previously the droid of Revan. And that's why he's kind of dark side. Well, he's also a combat droid, but he calls everyone a meatbag.
He calls everyone meatbags. He hates everything.
So funny.
Like when you talk to people in this game and you have party members, because you have 2 party members, sometimes they'll just like chime in with like little things. And everything HK says is so funny because he's just like, ah yes, the glory of combat. We will kill them all next. It's so funny. I love HK.
Oh my god, yes.
But yeah, you do Tatooine. It's not that, like, you do a lot of stuff with the sand people.
Yeah. But basically, each planet has, like, the main A plot of finding the star map, but then there's always some other secondary overarching planet-specific thing that you do with side missions. But yeah. I mean, essentially, well, we can leave the specifics for you to discover.
We'll just talk about the different people. Jolie joins. Jolie is so cool.
Yes, he is. I like him a lot.
He's a curmudgeon old guy who is like used to be was a Jedi, but then he's like a gray Jedi, which means like he's out there.
Neutral.
He's not like evil. He's like
doing his own thing.
He's like 50-50 in terms of light and dark. And everything he says is just like, I'm an old man. I don't care about this stuff. Like, yeah, I knew some people who like tried to change the ways of the Force or whatever, and like it went real bad for them. So I'm just hanging out. And he's like, oh, yeah, I decided to go with you because I'm like, you seem like you have some destiny on you, and I'm just going to see how that turns out. It's like, all right, Jolie. But it's really nice because like the thing with the Jedi, in both the prequels and in this, and basically all the time, is that they're so full of shit. Like, they always present as like, oh yes, having emotions is like bad, and doing all this other stuff is bad. And none of that stuff is true at all. They're so like full of themselves.
Well, that's the
and,
problem,
like, they don't...
right? That they are holding people to this unnatural level of like detachment, and people naturally are going to have emotions, and so they're just setting people up for failure. And then if you're not 100% what they say, then you're bad, and you go to the Sith. And I mean, because I feel like the Sith are more relatable, like, embrace your emotions and harness that into, but then they just go like over the top with what they're doing. But like, you can't even have love or anything. Like, you had to be totally platonic in everything in your life to be a Jedi. Essentially, you're just a tool for the Council to use.
Yes. I mean, like, everything you need to know about the Jedi, like, it happened in the prequels where it's like, they see Anakin as a slave and they take him, but they don't take his mom. They leave his mom to die as a slave on Tatooine. Yeah. And that's everything you need to know about the Jedi. It's like, if they see something that benefits them, they grab it. And if they see anything else that's inconvenient to them, they just ignore it.
Mm-hmm. I know. And yet I'm also like, when I was a kid, if I ever did something that got dark side points, I would immediately reload, because it was scary. Because like the super intense music starts playing when you get, it's like, and
the morality of this game is just like, it's just like, by being a normal person who like isn't a huge asshole, you get light side points, and like the only time you get dark side points is if you're like the evilest like jerk. You're just like running around punching dogs or something. Like, it's so stupid.
Yeah, I mean, basically, that's the problem with. I mean, okay, so Bioware is the developer of this, and then but they only did this one, but it was so well received and stuff. But they're like, we don't want to be pigeonholed to just being another Star Wars game studio, so they didn't make the second one and handed it off to Obsidian Entertainment, and they did KOTOR 2, which similar format and stuff. It's good too. I don't know. I don't know if I like it more than the first one, but it's a strong game as well. But BioWare has also done Mass Effect, where they have a similar morality system where Paragon or Renegade. And it kind of just like, I mean, if you want to be good or bad, then you don't really have choices that matter because you're just going to pick whatever is going to give you the alignment that you're wanting. That's what I like about games like Dragon Age, where it's based on like the decisions you make only affect how people perceive you and not like your moral standing, that then certain dialogue options are blocked behind because you don't have enough of whatever points to say that thing. So yeah, more about how the world perceives you is how decisions should affect and not good or bad points.
Yeah, like Bioware stuff often has the problem, at least at this era, has the problem where it's like it confuses morality with whether you're nice or not, which is like, if you're nice to people, you will be light-sided, and if you're not nice to people, you will be dark-sided. But like that has nothing to do with actual morality or like decisions you have to make or like what your priorities are or things that actually go into like an actual moral system. Because like a lot of people in the world historically have done awful things, and they were, by all accounts, very nice people, because being nice and being good are not the same thing. And these games just like don't. And they just
no. I mean, I guess it's just video games. It's hard to not be in a gamey way.
Like I remember seeing a thing from one of the developers of Mass Effect being like, "Yeah, we had player statistics. It turns out like 90% of all players in their first runs were doing like Paragon runs." Which was annoying because we spent all this time making the stuff for the Renegade ones. But it's just because, like, yeah, because if you're just like a normal human being, you're gonna be a Paragon because you probably aren't just gonna be a jerk to people for no reason.
I mean, yes, I fall into that where I'm like, oh, I don't want to be bad, so I'm just going to do all the good things. But then you don't have the freedom of choice. And the Renegade and Sith options, I feel like they're pretty funny. Like, they can be quite comical. Like, just being an asshole can be really funny sometimes. Like HK-47, I guess.
Yeah, it's very good. Like, when I got to the plot twist, and I guess we can talk about the plot twist next. Actually, are there any more companions that we get that are worth talking about?
Yeah. Did you get Juhani?
Juhani? Yes, I did.
Okay, I didn't get her my first time.
Oh.
I know, I didn't as a kid. And I think at Liara in Mass Effect, I was a stupid kid. Like, I didn't even... There's so many things you don't like go over your head when you're a child playing these games.
So Juhani is a Jedi you meet on Dantooine who has like been dark-sided.
Yeah, she made a mistake, felt really bad, but kind of just like was hiding out on Dantooine.
Her plot line's insane though. Like the mistake she made, what was happening was that her master was trying to train her in the temptations of the dark side. So she her master basically staged an accident to where Juhani would accidentally think that she killed her master. And then she thinks she falls to the dark side. And then later on, you learn that that's actually not true. Like, her master's still alive. He's just hurt. All of this was a weird test.
Yeah.
And, like, why did they do that to this, what's wrong? Why? Why would they do that to Juhani? She's cool.
Yep. Yeah, she's nice. She's very remorseful and kind of, like, down on herself through a lot of the game.
Well, yeah, because she thinks she's, like, a failure.
But you help, kind of build back her confidence and stuff. I think that's everyone in the original KOTOR. Who's your favorite character? I really liked Mission. I think Mission was my favorite.
Mission's pretty fun.
Maybe because I was a kid and she was a kid when I was playing this, but...
That's true. I mean, I like HK and Jolie. They're great.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a big plot twist that, at the time was like a huge revelation.
Before I got to the plot twist, I was already I was 50-50 light side, dark side, because one thing I always do that got me dark side points is I constantly use force persuade so I don't have to pay people money at the ports.
Yeah.
Like, anytime there's money involved, I'm like, force persuade, and then I don't have to pay them. It's great. Always do that. Always escape from paying people money by using force persuade.
Yeah, I guess I just did where I had, charisma, so I didn't have to use force persuade. I just did normal persuade, I think, and that was how I got around that without getting dark side points.
So what happens is after you do 3 out of the 4 Star Forges, you leave whatever planet you just got the last one on, and then all of a sudden you get boarded, or you get tractor beamed in to the big flagship of Earth's old.
Oh yeah.
master guy or general. What's his name?
It's a very distinct name. I like remembering it. I just don't. Carthonasi.
Saul Karth. So it's Saul.
Yeah.
Or Saul Karath. Sorry, Karth. His name's Karth. Saul Karath, like, basically captures you. He throws you in prison and is, like, interrogating you and Karth and Bastila. And Saul is, like, asking you questions. Like, oh, what are you guys trying to look for? Where's the Republic hideout? Or the Jedi training? What?
You're clicking a lot with your mouse.
Okay. I will
FYI.
say all that over again. Okay, so Saul brings you onto the ship. He brings you on and starts interrogating you and Karth and Bastila, and or he starts asking you some questions like, oh, what are you guys looking for? Et cetera, et cetera. And the whole time he's hinting at, like, some thing that you don't know about yourself, that he knows about you. And he's like, what, you really haven't figured this out yet? And then you break out. I broke out with HK. HK was like, oh, they'll shut me down, but I have backup power reserves, and then I'll wake back up, and then I'll free you all.
Well, I think you kind of pick which character you want to execute this.
Right.
And then they each have their own method. Yeah.
And Zalbar. Zalbar is not allowed to be this person. Well, like, you play as them and break everybody else out. At this point in the game, so here's the thing. I've been doing all the side quests. At this point, I am level 17 out of 20.
Oh. Yeah.
HK is also level 17 out of 20. He is killing everybody. Everybody is so dead. He is laying waste to every Sith, like,
trooper,
whatever, elite soldier, trooper on this thing by himself. And then I free everybody, and I am carving through all these losers. And so basically you get to the, you free everybody, and then you have to be a party of your character, Bastila, and Karth. And so you go to the bridge and you confront Saul. And Saul is like, here you will all die. And I'm like, Saul, I've been killing everybody. You guys are so fucking dead. And then I, like, route the whole room. Basically, the way I'm playing this game is that I have an ability called Insanity that I use that makes everybody
attack
like do
each
a...
other.
No, they do like a mind. They have to do like a mind save, and if they don't do it, they get stunned for like
yeah, like concussion,
10 seconds, which is a long time in this. And also, if like a character is stunned and you attack them, you like instantly get a crit on them. And I have an attack that already does a crit, so I am just like one-shotting dudes after they get stunned. And Bastila has like destroyed droids, so if there's any droids, she just like one-shots all the droids. It's incredible. We are like destroying everything. We get the plot to it, or no. Karth shoots Saul, or Saul goes down, and he's like, I'm gonna die, and Karth is like, I'm gonna kill you, Saul, I'm gonna get revenge. And like, you get the option, like the light side option here is to be like, don't do it, Saul, or don't do it, Karth, don't get revenge. And the dark side is like, hell yeah, dude, kill that guy, you got your wife killed. I'm like, at this point, I'm like, yeah, man, you should absolutely kill this dude. Give me those dark side points, come on, he's right here, just fucking kill this guy. So I tell him to do that, and Bastila's like, no, Karth, don't fall to the dark side. I'm Bastila, blah, blah, blah. And the dying Saul whispers his last words into Karth's ear, and Karth's like, what? There's no way that can be true. And you're like, what's going on, Karth? And he's like, Bastila, is it true? And Bastila's like, listen, Karth, we can't talk about this here. And my guy's like, what are y'all talking about? And they're like, we don't have any time. We have to leave. So you get off So you're trying to leave because Malik's ship has approached and is about to board you guys, and all your other teammates have gotten to the Ebon Hawk and are like ready to take off. You're almost to your ship, and who walks through the door but Darth Malik? He's here. He's like a super tall guy and has like a big metal jaw.
Like the guy from One Piece.
Like the guy from One Piece with the axe hand, yeah. And he's like, yes, finally. I found you all. Are you all ready to die? Bastila's like, no. And Malik's like, yes, our fated reunion to the player character. The player character can either be like, yeah, man, let's get ready to throw down. Or you can be like, what's everybody talking about? Malik explains to you that the whole time in this game, you are Darth Revan. And what happened was, your ship was getting attacked by Bastila and her crew. And Malik saw this, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to let my master die because I can be the master because this is the thing the Sith always does is like the apprentice always betrays the master and sometimes they win and sometimes they lose. That's why it's the rule of 2 because there can only ever be 2 of them at the same time, which is never true because you fought like 1,000 other Sith Jedi at this point, but whatever. Bastila boards your ship, you get routed, but like they incapacitate you in some way and then they steal you. They rewrite your memories and give you the memories of like some made up thing about you being like a Republic soldier or something. And then they send you back down on that ship. And then that ship gets boarded by Malak and, you know, all of the events play out. But the whole time, like when Bastila is like talking about this bond you have, the bond you have is because she wiped your memory, dude. And she like reconstructed your memory.
Yeah. And all the flash visions you're seeing are your like past memories.
Yeah, and we get all these like telltale signs of like, oh, the master's being like, oh, we normally don't train people this old, but this time we're making an exception because you're Dark Revan and like all this other stuff. And that's what happens, and that's the big plot twist. And so at the end of it, you're like, oh shit, I'm Darth Revan, and Malak is like, yes, everybody thought I was a punk because I let you get killed by somebody else, but finally is my chance to kill you. And then he like force freezes Bastila and Karth, and it's like just you and Malak, and you do a fight. And let me tell you, if Malak thought he was gonna beat his old master, he was wrong, because I whooped that fool's ass. Oh my god, he was such a pushover. It was embarrassing. I like kicked his ass. He runs away to a different room. You go and get inside that room. You fight him again. I kick his ass even harder the second time, and then he runs away. And like it does the video game thing where like you do a fight and it just like assumes you're gonna lose, or it like has to make it that you lose for the plot, because like Malak puts you in a little whirlwind thingy, and then it's like you and Karth and Bastila, and they're like, oh no, Malak's too strong, we gotta get out of there, like we gotta escape. Bastila is like, I'll hold him off and you guys escape, and you're like, Bastila, no. Except in my case, I'm like, Bastila, why? I was fucking kicking that guy, like just give him 5 more minutes with him, he'll be dead on the floor. She goes to fight him, you leave, and then you take off without Bastila, and you lost Bastila. And Karth is like, yo, guys, this is Darth Revan, can you guys believe this shit? And every single party member is like, actually, Karth, that kind of owns. That's kind of the coolest shit that's ever happened. It's so funny.
Yeah.
That, like, Karth is like, isn't it fucked up that the guy, like, the most evil guy ever is here? And all my teammates are just like, nah, actually, that rules.
Yes, okay, and that's about where you are in the game now?
Yeah, and then I just went to the Sith colony right now, so I'm on the last planet. But, yes.
Nice. Yeah.
I can't fucking believe Bastila. What a piece of shit.
Yeah. Oh, but she's voiced by Jennifer Hale. I love Jennifer Hale. It's the same voice as Commander Shepard.
You have so many fucking conversations where she's like, yeah, our connection is just so weird. Like, I don't know what's up with it. Yeah, it's kind of odd that the master sent us off together. I thought maybe this was a test for me, but now I don't know. Motherfucker, you know exactly what's going on. I am the only person who doesn't know anything. You rewrote my identity. You can't do this to people.
Yeah, yes, the Jedi are a little problematic.
They freaking, like, what is happening? They reprogrammed me. I'm like a different guy now. What?
So,
awful.
Because you started accumulating dark side points, so are they like, oh, you're just reverting to your innate senses, or?
I was at, like, so it's like on a scale from 1 to 100, where 0 is Sith and 100 is super light side. I'm like at 55 when this happens. So I'm still technically light side, but like, I've done a couple things since then, because I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going
I know.
back. I think it's time to go back to the old
that
me.
You were a Sith Lord, that you're like, oh, I should be bad.
I'm thinking like maybe I'm back is what I've decided. And so I've tried to get some dark side points, and now I'm getting more dark sided. I'm gonna try to get super dark sided, because I know that you can use some cool Sith stuff.
Lightning and stuff. At the end.
Yeah, but let me tell you, extremely fucked up that this is their plan. Like, I can't believe, and you learn, like, when you talk to your other companions about, like, oh, hey, are you cool if I'm Darth Revan? Jolie is like, oh yeah, I knew. Yeah, I knew you were Darth Revan, and I was like, damn, that's weird. I'm gonna go stick around with him. Didn't think it was my place to say anything. Like, fucking Jolie, come on, man. Dude, the HK reveal is so funny.
Yeah.
You tell HK that you're Darth Revan, and HK's like, I've accessed my last memory core, Master. It turns out that I was originally owned by Darth Revan, and now I am owned by Darth Revan again. Huzzah! It's so funny. HK is like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And Canderous is like, Darth Revan was the only guy who's ever been able to defeat the Mandalorians in even combat. Now I'm working with the coolest guy ever. This is the best thing that's ever happened to me. But then Mission and Zalbar are just like, he seems cool to me. Like, or I'm playing as a woman, so like, she seems cool to me. Like, I don't think that, you say she's Darth Revan, but like, she seems pretty normal. I don't know. I think we're good. We've had all these good times.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's
out.
essentially that they've all known you as an individual and not for your past, so they just are judging you based off the actions they've seen up to this point.
And T3 just like gives a little like approving beeps and boops. It's so fun because Karth like starts being like, guys, we have a huge problem. The person we've been trusting with our lives is actually the most evil person ever who got my whole family killed. Can you guys believe this? And everyone's like, whoa, this is great. Darth Revan, that owns.
Oh,
and Karth is just like, yeah, I guess it's okay. Yeah, no, I'm cool with it now.
That's funny.
It's so funny.
So maybe once you play KOTOR 2, we could do like a playthrough of the Old Republic, the MMO.
Oh God.
Because it references these games. It's okay. I mean, this is the only MMO I've played because you can't play it as without other people because there is plots to follow for each alignment and class you pick. But like in that, they like the canon of that before that was nullified, I guess, is that Revan was a dude, and then the protagonist that's featured in the second one in canon was a female. But like in the game, it will prompt you like in the second one, it'll be like, oh yeah, that Revan, and then the option is like he was so bad or something.
It's so good that I'm playing as a woman in this because as a guy, they like apparently they talk about this in the podcast. They very railroad you into having a romance with Bastila, and I cannot think of a more fucked up thing to happen than Bastila falling in love with the dude she reprogrammed with a fake personality. What?
Yeah,
the most
true.
Unhinged person in all of space. What is going on?
Yeah, I know. Because as a female, there's like the potential to kind of romance Karth, but he's very like kind of opposed to it in the beginning, like doesn't want to let it.
Well, I can't romance Karth now. I'm the person who got his wife killed.
Yeah.
I'm the most evil person in the whole planet now. And I'm doing it again.
I feel like I've heard, and I never did this, but I feel like in each of them there's like characters that you can somehow make into Jedis that aren't by default Jedis. But I'm like, I don't know.
This is what I'm saying. You also learn during this that the Jedi Academy on Dantooine got fucking torched.
Yes.
So maybe I'm just gonna start my own Jedi Academy. I mean, I'm Revan now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can do whatever I want. I am the most talented. I'm the biggest vet around now.
Mm-hmm.
Where are all the masters now? There's just me.
I know. Revan's a cool name.
It's cool. Oh. It's so funny playing now, because now I have all these options on the Sith planet to be like, I'm Revan, right? And everyone's like, yeah, good one.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to keep doing that. And like, it's so funny, because it's like, or I'll ask people questions. I'll be like, hey, what do you know about Malik? They'll be like, oh, you know about Darth Malik? What do you want? Yeah, he's the guy in charge. What do you want about him? And I'm like, I hear he's a punk loser. And they're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he is, because I kicked his ass. I owned him so hard. I am the strongest person in this entire game now, at level 17.
Oh, just wait till you're level 20.
Yeah, it's great. I'm just like walking around like I own the place now. I'm like, yeah, I met the guy who runs the ship. He ain't shit.
Yeah.
I gotta be evil, so I gotta make all these dumb evil choices where I'm like, yeah, kill all these random people. I'm Darth Revan. I don't care, even though like that's not really my attitude.
But looking back, so this came out in 2003, so 11 years ago, or 21 years ago, and it still has like so many things and so much well thought out things that games today still don't do. Like, it's so freaking good.
Well, the setup is even really good where it's like, Yeah, the Mandalorians were attacking people, and the Jedi weren't doing anything. And then Revan and Malik were like, all right, fuck this. We're going to go help these people.
Yeah, so it's like, it's not just black and white, yeah.
Including Johanny. Like, Johanny reveals that she was saved by Revan.
Yes.
Before he became evil.
So how old is your character? Because
I don't know.
You help her, like, when she's a little kid or something.
I mean, she's maybe not that old. I'm probably, like, 40. But yeah. So, like, the Jedi are in the wrong.
Yes.
I mean, sure, we went to the Starforge and became evil, but, like, listen, that happens.
Well-meaning to begin with.
And then you're like, that's the predicament you're in. It's like, I guess I'll side with the Republic, even though I think they suck.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm happy you're playing this game, and you think you'll play the next one too.
Yeah, this is better than I don't know, more recent Star Wars stuff that's been coming out.
Oh well, I haven't played the. If I can't play as a lady, I don't want to play. Have you played Jedi Academy? Okay, you might. I like that one too. Okay, but I gotta start getting ready to go ice skating. But so yeah, thanks for checking out our yeah. Well, maybe we'll start and.
Well, I guess we could record another one and splice them together if we want to make it longer, or just have a one-off.
Yeah. I guess I'll finish the game at some point. Yeah, that would be good. Bonus episode of Shoujo.
We're back in the second part of our KOTOR discussion.
Yes, about
because
a
we're
game
picking off from the first part,
anime
which
related.
we did like 2 weeks ago, because that's how long it took me to beat the ending.
Yeah, well, as I witnessed with my own eyes, that was a bit of a struggle. You want to rant about?
All right, yeah, I'll run through the ending. So last time I was on Korriban, you do the rest of that. It's not that interesting. You go through the Sith Academy. You meet a bunch of like Sith ghosts and stuff.
Did you meet Karth's son?
I did meet Karth's son, yeah. The first time I met Karth's son, I accidentally got in a fight with him and killed him, and then Karth got mad at me, so I reloaded that save. And...
Okay, good. I'm the only one save scumming.
Oh, of course. Are you kidding me? I would never play a Bioware game and not save scum. That would just sound terrible.
Right? I can't live with that. That's like Baldur's Gate has an honor mode where you can't do that. I would die. Yeah, but like role-playing is like pretty integral to that. So I kind of get that. As like role-playing in this, you can't really do it because they don't give you enough good options. Anyway, so I did the rest of Korriban. That's fine. Whatever. Found the star map. It was good. And then you're like at the end game because you found all the star maps. And what happens is you go to you figure out where the Starforge is, you get brought there, or you blast off there, but while you are like in orbit around the Starforge, like approaching it, your navigation system gets like shut off by like interference, and you are dragged onto this like mysterious planet where you crash land, and basically Karth is like, yeah, we gotta like find some boosters to repair the ship, and also we have to destroy the thing that's causing interference, which is this big Sith temple, or like temple. Do you remember what this is? Yeah. I don't know. Well, I mean, there's like two native warring clans. I don't remember if the temple was like from them or some other. It is from them. Occupant.
So the alien race that's like there are the same people that the builders are, I believe. They built the Starforge millennia ago. And they like used to have this big sprawling empire or whatever, and then they all got wrecked because they, were corrupt internally, and also there's this big plague. Mm-hmm. But you show up and you're there, a party comes, like one of their party groups shows up and is like, "Oh, the one wants to see you."
Yeah.
Yeah, they're scouts. They're like, "Ooh, the one wants to see you." And it's like, okay. And so you go and see him, and he's like, "Oh, hey, Revan, you're back." And I'm like, I guess I'm back. And he's like, "Yeah, remember the deal we had where you were going to go and steal all the secrets from the elders so we could get you into the, like, spire so you could learn all the secrets of the spire or of the temple? And you're going to bring them back to me. Remember that deal that you didn't follow through on?" And I'm like, "Listen, man, I don't remember that much." I am not the same Revan that was there before. And he's like, "Okay, well, as long as the deal's still on, that's good." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, for sure, man. I'm totally going to honor this deal."
Uh-huh.
So then I go to the elders, and the elders are like, "Oh, hey, it's you, Revan. Hey, remember when you showed up and you were like, I need access to the temple because I want to make sure that nothing nefarious like the Starforge could ever be used, and then you went in there and then you turned the Starforge on and started using it?
Yeah.
What was with that?" And my response is like, yeah, I don't know, man. That's wild. Anyway, I came here to kill you all, so then I just killed all of them.
I did not do that.
Is that what did you do?
I killed the one faction.
Oh, you killed the one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he was the one asking for the death of the others.
That's true.
So
well, I'm trying to be
weren't
dark
asking
side at
to
this point.
kill them.
I have like tried to accumulate a lot of dark side points. It turns out this does not matter at all. Except it messes up my stats.
You still get an award at the end.
You get an award. What?
At the end, they give you like you and your.
Oh, I mean the end. What I'm saying is that like
if you're evil,
you get to pick your ending no matter what you are. Like that doesn't affect which ending you get because you get to decide what ending you get at this temple.
Okay. Obviously, I've only ever picked one ending.
Yes, I did both, so I had a terrible time. So I kill all those guys. I get access to the base or the temple. The one is like, okay, there's this ritual that my priests have learned the chant for, and they will let you into the temple, and that way you can get in. But you have to go by yourself because it's like tradition. So I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'll go by myself. Who cares? I'm like a powerhouse at this point. I'm level 20.
Max level.
But then while they're doing the chant, like you show up at the temple, the priest is there. You're like, okay, we're gonna start the chant. You gotta wait for us to like do the chant so we can lower the barrier. And then Jolie and Jahani show up, and they're like, hey, there's some evil shit going on in that temple. There's some Sith in there. We're not letting you go in alone. And my guy turns to the priest guy. He's like, hey, these guys are coming with me. And he's like, oh, no, you can't do that. It's against tradition. And I'm like, listen, man, if you don't let me in there with these guys, I'm just going to kill y'all. Because I'm evil at this point, so I can just threaten whoever I want. And they're like, oh, okay.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And Jolie is like, well, I wouldn't handle it that way, but I guess that's good enough. So then you go into this temple, and it's like a big dungeon. You kill a bunch of guys, whatever. And then you get to the... And while you're in the temple, you are getting interspersed cutscenes of Bastila getting tortured by Malik, and he is turning her to the dark side through, I don't know, space force means or something. Anyway, you get to the top of the temple, and who is waiting for you but evil dark-sided Bastila? She's there, and she's like, Revan.
A goth now.
She's goth. She's hotter than before. She's goth. She's evil. She's like, you should... It's too bad you became such a wuss, Revan. You were used to be the Dark Lord, blah, blah, blah. You could come back to the dark side, and we could rule it together if you wanted to. And this is where you, the player character, get to make a choice on whether you're going to get the dark side ending or the light side ending. Should we walk through? Which one should we walk through first?
Dark side, since that's what you've been showing off, the bad part of you. Let's continue on this path.
Okay.
The depravity.
So the dark side ending. So the part, like, the thing that kind of sucks about this is, like, this is Star Wars without any nuance. So it's like, your two options are basically to say, don't do it, Bastila, join the light side is good. I turn to the light side 100%, and I'm all here for it, and the Jedi are great, and everything's perfect, and we'll defeat Malik together. And that's what you have to say if you're a good guy. You have to be, like, a huge wuss and ignore the fact that the Jedi are, like, ineffective and, like, created their own problems. Or when you're dark-sided, your response is, yes, I've returned. I'm Malik. Everybody will bow before me. I deserve everything. Everybody else sucks. I'm the coolest guy ever. I might even kill you, Bastila. Who knows? That's what you say because you're pure evil. So you have to make this stupid binary choice.
How does Jolie feel about that?
Oh, man. So... that's what I do. I'm like, yes, actually, I am Revan. I have returned. I'm going to retake the mantle of Revan. Bastila, you should ditch Malik. He's a punk loser. You should join up with me. You could be my apprentice because I'm feeling like I'm back. And Bastila's like, ooh, that sounds pretty good. I always knew there was something special about you. Maybe the two of us together could do it. And, like, Jolie and Jahani are both like, what? Like, listen, man, you can't go to the dark side again. Like, I don't want to have to fight you because I'm not gonna let you go to the dark side. Don't do it, kid. I don't want to fight you. That's what Jolie says.
Oh, okay.
But there is no negotiation option. You enter combat against Jolie and Jahani with Bastila on your side. Bastila has cool dark side powers now. She has like lightning and like stasis and all those stuff, so that's pretty good. And you wreck them, so they go down. You kill them both pretty easily. And then Bastila's like, okay, well, this is great. We can't take my ship because it's a one-seater, but we can just go back to the Ebon Hawk and we can go attack the Starforge and take it over. And then, you will be the Sith leader instead of Malik. And I'm like, cool, good plan, great plan. So you run back to the Ebon Hawk, or you do what I do, which is I go back to the one. The one is like, oh, did you bring us the secrets? And I'm like, no, I was using you, you fool. And then I killed every single person in that camp. And then I go back to the Ebon Hawk and I get to have the showdown with the rest of the crew. So you show
Nobody's team dark side.
No, people are not so
Canderous?
as jazzed
or
as
HK-47.
Oh, they are as jazzed as everybody on the team was that you were actually Revan. They're not as jazzed that you're evil Revan again. So you show up and Karth is like, oh, great, you found Basil, that's perfect. And then he's like, oh, wait, but like, what's going on? Where's Jahani and Jolie? And you can be like, oh, they turned to the dark side, like some bad stuff happened to them. But it doesn't really matter what you say here because Basil's immediately like, Lord Revan's returned, everybody bow down to him. And I'm like, God, Basila, come on.
Play it cool.
We're trying, play it cool. But she does not. And so what happens is Karth freaks out. Because he's like, this can't be happening. Like, I serve the Republic. The Sith killed my family. I'm not, you can't be serious. Canderous is like, you and me, Revan, till the end of time. I don't care if you're evil or what. You're my homie, so, I'm going with it. So he's on board. HK is into it, because, of course, HK would be into you being evil, because he's an evil droid.
Mm-hmm.
T3 doesn't care. He just beeps and boops. Mission is also not into it. She's like, no way. Like, freaking the Sith destroyed Terrace. Or what's it called? Is that the first place called?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, destroyed Terrace. That's where I grew up. Like, they killed all those people. I'm not going to serve you. And then Zalbar is like, well, Mission, I did swear a life debt to Revan for saving me that one time. So I kind of have to do what Revan says. So that's how it breaks down. So Zalbar is reluctantly on your team. Canderous is HK, or the droids are. Jolie and Jahani are dead. So Karth is like, we're going to have to, I'm not going to serve you. Basically, hey, Mission, let's make a break for it.
Oh, dear.
My response is just to let them go. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Karth runs off and leaves. But Mission does not follow. Like, she doesn't leave. She's like, no, I'm not leaving. Like, you're just gonna have to kill me. There's not, you were not serious about turning evil. I'm not gonna accept this as reality.
Mm-hmm.
Your two responses as Revan are to either kill her yourself, or you can be like, hey, Zalbar, you owe me a life debt. I want you to kill Mission.
So
and if you tell Zalbar to kill Mission, Zalbar will be like, no, I don't, listen, I owe you a life debt, but I don't, want to do that. You can't make me do that. Mission is like, you can't make Zalbar do that. And then you have the option to force persuade Zalbar to kill Mission, which I do. And Zalbar just walks up and says something along the lines of, I'm sorry, Mission, a life debt is a life debt. I gotta do this. And Mission's like, you cannot be serious. And then he cuts her down. And she's
cuts
dead.
Her down. He uses a bowcaster.
Oh, I'm sorry. He has Baka's blade in my playthrough.
Okay.
So he cuts her down, and Mission is dead, and she's just laying on the beach, and you could go outside, and her corpse is still there. And that's how that ends. So yeah, that's the big confrontation you have on the beach. That's how it goes if you're dark-sided. Messed up. Killed a 14-year-old. You got Zalbar to do it. I have lost.
You know what? It makes sense that Karth runs. Essentially, you don't have the option to kill Karth.
No.
He does make a cameo. briefly. It's not a spoiler really, but in the second KOTOR. So so it makes sense that they would make sure that he survives.
Yeah. But yeah, so like really just like cartoonishly evil. Like the dark side ending is so just like ridiculous over the top.
Yeah, it's not very complex.
No. It doesn't surprise me that you never did this because it's not like particularly satisfying, to be honest, because it's not like you are like acknowledging any of the reasons why somebody would go dark side other than you're just like a cartoon evil villain. Yep. It has nothing to do with like the failures of the Jedi as an organization or like the fact that they are inactive for a lot of like actually really bad stuff, like the slave trade and all this other stuff. It's just like, I've decided that I want to be the ruler of the universe, so I'm evil now.
I think Jolie is like a good representation of what most people probably would be like, just kind of neutral, not bad, not good, maybe less self-serving or isolating than Jolie, but like unless there's something corrupting about turning the force is very vague in how it works, but maybe there's just a corrupting element to it that just turns you into a cartoon villain and not that you're intentionally making these shallow, like, not meaningful decisions.
It's just disappointing that that's how it's laid out. Because, like, Jolie is interesting because his whole backstory is like, yeah, I was a Padawan. I was doing some stuff, like, during some previous wars. And they talked about Exar Kun and, like, that, which was, like, a group of... It was like the same thing almost as like the Revan and Malak stuff where it's like, yeah, this was a Jedi that was like charismatic and then went to the dark side and brought a lot of people with him. And then there was like a big internal rebellion that got staged like within the Jedi. And his wife, who was also a Jedi, also joined Exar Kun. And so like she became evil and there was an opportunity for Jolie to like kill his wife. But he didn't take it. And because of that, a lot of people died. Like she went off to... go and kill a bunch of people. And then after everything shook out, he was like brought to trial for like that. And he wanted to get punished because he was like, I had the opportunity to stop somebody who was bad and I didn't for personal reasons. And that had a lot of like repercussions for a lot of other people. And, a lot of people died because of those things. So he was wanting to get punished, but the Jedi Council didn't. They just let him off. They're just like, well, you feeling bad is your punishment, right? And that's where he felt betrayed. He's like, these guys are not an organization that like I can take seriously. Like that's when he says that's when the Jedi left him, is when they didn't hold him to an account for a thing he felt like he should have been held to account for, which is interesting. Like that is a nuanced take on like the Jedi and like what it is to,
well, I guess like, they
deal
like
with morality
are constantly having a limited supply of Jedi Knights, so they can't be cutting them loose like that. Probably, or there'd be none left.
Right. I mean, but like this is the thing that shows up in the prequels and stuff all the time, where it's like, yeah, the Jedi Council like actually lets people get away with stuff all the time, even though they're always like, oh, if you do this bad thing, you may fall to the dark side and not be redeemed. But they're like constantly giving people passes for things that they do. It makes the stuff with Anakin way more tragic, where it's like, he becomes Darth Vader because he doesn't tell anybody about when he killed all the people that had like enslaved his mom, right? Like he goes and he kills the entire group of people, which is like a really bad thing that he does, but he's never able to like reckon with it because he can't tell Obi-Wan or any of the council because he's afraid of getting in trouble. But he doesn't know that they let people get away with stuff like this all the time. Like if he would have just told them, it probably would have been okay.
Slaughter the clan of sand people.
Oh yeah, no, like whether or not they
should
is different from whether or not they will
permit it,
right?
I think we need a Jolie dedicated piece of content, like the story of Jolie, a book or an animated thing or a he's a cool. I mean, I don't know what the situation is with Star Wars canon, but like our fan, it'd just be cool. He's an interesting character. It'd be cool to see like the relationship with his wife beforehand and then her turning and all that. Very complex, and it'd be cool to see.
Yeah.
But
Jolie's great. He's like one of the best Bioware NPCs ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, that's what happened. Or do you have anything else to say about like the way? I mean, it just sucks that Jolie is very complex and interesting, but like the main story doesn't reflect that complexity when dealing with the dark side at all. It's like very cartoony.
Yes, that is the problem with these games, is the limitations of the morality system.
Yeah,
which is why it's just better not to have that be so black and white.
Integral, yeah. Like, the light side ending is like, you're just like a big rube, and you're like, oh, the Republic's, we gotta defend the Republic, Bastila, don't do this. It's like embarrassing. Should I just run through that real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the light side version of this is you show up on the roof, Basila's like, join me, Revan, and you're like, no, Bastila, don't fall to the dark side. I know there's a better version of you in there. There's no way Malik could have, like, made you evil in, like, a week. She's like, you just don't understand. You're just a coward, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, she doesn't turn. She runs away. She gets in her ship and leaves. You turn off the little barrier thing. You go back to the Ebon Hawk. Everyone's like, oh, you like turned off, like, we can leave now. Were you able to find Bastila? And you're like, no, she's been turned by Malik and she got away. And everyone's like, darn, that's too bad. And then, you know,
everyone's probably like, good, I don't like her and I don't want her to come back. She's kind of snooty. I can imagine most of them probably don't like her.
I mean, yeah. I mean, she gets better over time.
Necessarily a likable person.
She's like very off-putting, but then like she gets better over time. But yeah. So that's, you know, it's pretty straightforward in a light side ending. And then, like, regardless of whatever you choose, the Republic fleet shows up. In the dark side version, you like bait the Republic fleet. You're like, oh yes, we need to go stop the Starforge. And you like pretend to be good guys, and Basila's like, yes, I was saved by Revan. And then Basila's like, perfect, I'll show up. We'll go to the Starforge, we'll kill Malik, we'll use my battle meditation to take the Sith army to, like, crush the Republic. And so the Republic is gone, Malik is gone, you'll just own everything. And
so
in the light side version...
Bastila with you, are you able to confront Malik with her at your side, or is it just solo still? Okay, I was going to say,
you have to fight the last boss
to see him say, like, man, now I really regret turning her... against me, because now she's ambitious against me.
You don't get that, unfortunately.
Nope. Okay.
In the light side version, the Republic army shows up and they're like, and you're like, we're gonna help you take out the Starforge, and then blah blah blah. So you go off to the Starforge. Basically, the plan is the like fake Yoda guy is there.
The fake, it's a species.
I know. I don't know what his name is. Master whatever, who didn't die on Dantooine, but I thought he did. He's basically like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna land a bunch of Jedi on the starbase, and then you guys are gonna be like the main strike team, and you're gonna go in, you're gonna kill Malik, and you're gonna turn off the Starforge while the Republic forces fight outside in space against the Sith forces, basically. This is the same regardless of good or bad.
I want it to be known that apparently there isn't actually it's never been determined what species. It's just that it is one. Okay, interesting. Continue.
Interesting. But yeah, so you land. It's the last dungeon. The last dungeon is essentially the same, regardless of good or bad side. You're on the Starforge. You have to fight like a bajillion.
A nightmare, regardless.
Yeah, it's awful. Like, I don't understand how they want you to do this. It seems like what they want you to do is to just keep running and like not fight everybody and just keep pushing to the end of rooms.
Just run until you get to a cutscene and then they'll all be gone.
I think so. I think that's what you want to do. But it kind of doesn't work because basically they keep spawning Sith apprentices nonstop, which are not particularly hard to fight. There's just a lot of them. Like, you'll be fighting like 4 of them at a time. And they'll also spawn like robots in like the first section. And there's a lot of those. And then they'll also spawn like Sith battlers or something, or like troopers, like the guys wearing red who have blasters, and really just throw a bunch of grenades that slow you down all the time. And like, you just fight like 60 guys in a row. It's terrible. It's just a horrible like experience. It's really easy, especially because like my build was more of a like, I stun everybody and I get a bunch of kills and I have really high dex, so I'm like dodging things, and like my health isn't that high. But for me, it's really bad because there's just so many guys that if any one of them like lands a hit and stuns you, then they can just stun lock you and you're just dead. So you're constantly having to save and reload. The whole thing takes like 30 minutes to get through. I had to do this twice because I did both endings. It was just, it was rough.
You're a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, and these are just long hallways that all look the same. You fight the same guys like over and over and over again. There's a part where like in order to progress, you have to break all these turrets, which means you have to clear the room, and it keeps spawning guys. It's just brutal. I don't know why they made it like this. Like the combat isn't that fun for fighting like waves and waves of guys over and over and over again.
You want me to tell you something?
What?
When I first played this, I was probably 12. I think I just didn't finish the first game. I think I got to that point, and then I was just like, okay, I got far enough. This is close enough. Now I can play the next one.
It's genuinely really unfun. Anyway, you eventually get to like the big room with like the star map. The whole time you're seeing Malik, and he's like, send in the Sith droids, the Starforged droids, and then you beat them, and the guy's like, oh, Revan beat them all, and he's like, dang, I thought those would do better. And he's like, send in everybody else, and then we get another scene where he's like, all right, it's just you and me, most trusted apprentice. So in the light side version, it's Bastila. In the dark side version, it's just 3 random apprentices. And he's like, hold off Revan while I make the final preparations for the Starforge. And then he leaves. So this is like the big mini boss thing. In the dark side version, you just fight these 3 random guys, and it's kind of uninteresting because they're not that much harder than everybody else. Mm-hmm. And you have Bastila with you, and she's pretty good, and you just like wreck everything. So like my party in that was Bastila and Canderous, and they were wrecking shop.
Nice.
So you cut through that. In the light side version, this is your big confrontation with Bastila. So your teammates get left behind, and you basically have a conversation with Bastila where this is like your last chance to like charisma through changing her to the light side. But I don't remember how the conversation goes. I know you have to like fight her and then stop and then fight her and then stop and then fight her and then stop, and every time you're like, you can come back. I remember the old Bastila. Remember the bond we have. Join back to the light side. That kind of thing.
Trauma bond.
Do you have anything to say about this?
Yeah, I think I made a note of this when we were talking the other day, but I feel like Bastila was destined to be bad because she's got the like accent, and Imperial people have accents and Republic people do not. So obviously she is meant to be evil. So it's her destiny.
Is cool as an evil person. She is like hotter and cooler when she's evil.
Is she?
Yes.
Boy. Yeah, she's
for
fine.
Sure. Because she's so
I love Jennifer Hale.
When she's a good guy.
Jennifer Hale.
Anyway, you turn her to the light side, and she's like, oh, I have done it. I have returned to the light side. I'm going to stop using my battle meditation for the Sith and start using it for the Republic.
Bye.
So, yeah, she has to stay in that room. So you're by yourself now. In the dark side version, she's like, I need to stay behind so I can use my battle meditation for the Sith so they can beat the Republic. So you leave her behind no matter what. Mm-hmm. You get a really funny cutscene in the dark side version where, like, the Republic officer is like, I don't understand. The Sith are suddenly all in, like, perfect formation with each other, and they're, like, reacting to everything perfectly. And, like, the little Yoda guy is like, how could this be? Oh no, Bastila must be using her battle meditation against us. We've been betrayed. And he's like, you should pull out. And she's like, well, we can't pull out because all our forces are dedicated. This is like a do or die situation for us. And he's like, well, I guess we're all dead. And then later we get a cutscene with them where like their ship just explodes into a million pieces. Extremely funny.
Guy. Yeah.
Dude, fuck that guy. The freaking Jedi Council can eat it. The fake Dantooine Jedi Council. Stupid.
Boy.
In the light side version, it's like the opposite. It's like, finally, all our forces are being used because Bastila is using her battle meditation for us. We're gonna win now. And then that just plays out. Mm-hmm. Regardless, you go into a room and Malik is like, yes, Revan, you're here, but I don't have time to fight you. You're gonna die in this room. And then he leaves, and then you get like this stupid little mini game where you have to like, basically, there's these 6 droid things that just keep popping out droids, and you got to go to the terminal and hack all of them and tell them to stop popping out droids, and you have to do that 6 times in a row, and then you do that, and then you can leave that room. It's like terrible. It's like not even a puzzle. I don't understand why they have you do this. You just like walk to each
at the end.
You just walk to each computer while getting shot by a bunch of droids and press the off button 6 times. Fascinating stuff.
This is making me want to play a Bioware game.
I'm describing the worst dungeon in the game, and you're like,
I'm thinking like, okay, what's a good Bioware
makes me nostalgic for terrible like final dungeons.
Well, I'm not that. Honestly, if it has a story, I can overlook a lot of things.
You just said you didn't finish this as a child.
Well, I have since finished it. I mean, last time I played, like immediately after finishing KOTOR, I was on stream. I got off. It was like late. Got in bed. Immediately started playing KOTOR 2 and stayed up till like 4 in the morning playing it.
Okay. Anyway, to cap this off, you clear the droid room, and then you go and you fight Malik in this big room that's like has the window. I don't know, is it the bridge of the ship? I don't know,
yeah.
So you have the final boss battle against Malik. It sucks. It's a terrible boss battle. Like, he is annoying because... So, like, you're level 20. And, like, you know, again, like, my build has a lot to do with, like, stunning people and then hitting them for, like, critical damage and then dodging stuff or whatever. Bosses, yeah. Malik doesn't get stunned by anything. He resists all of your stuns. He can dodge a lot of your stuff for some reason, and his hit rate is almost perfect. So he is hitting me every round for a huge amount of damage. I hit him, like, every other round, maybe... And I have to spend like half my time healing. It's just a terrible slog of a boss fight.
Just
like
shooting up the med pack over and over.
I'm using med packs nonstop. It's like I have to use it every other round. I'm just trying to do some damage. My main like strategy is poisoning him and then just waiting for his health to tick down. It's really rough. And then halfway through the fight, he like, you know, when he's at half health, he runs away. He goes over to this like little station where there is a Jedi that he captured that's like in a little stasis pod, and he like drains it of its life so he can heal himself. And he's like, yes, if you use these, you can get a little boost. Like, you can't defeat me here, Revan.
Annoying.
So he fully heals. And at this point, like, your character is supposed to like run around, like avoid fighting him and like destroy these other little pods so he can't keep doing that. That's what I do. I run around, I kill all these pods so he doesn't get any more heals, and then I just keep trying to do the same tactic to finish him off. And it's even harder this time because he's like has an extra buff or something dumb, and it's like a really bad time. This doesn't help that like in the dark side playthrough I have a lot of like dark side powers because I was planning on going dark sided. Mm-hmm. And how much of like your force energy juice it uses is dependent on what your alignment is. So in my dark-sided run, like I can keep using like life drain and like poison and like all this other stuff, and it doesn't cost very much. But if you do the light side ending, it automatically brings your like dark side points up to neutral, which means all of the like force powers I've been using have become really expensive for me. So I can't use like any of them as much as I could before because it would just drain my force meter. So like I'm terrible at fighting now because I can't even use my powers because it's like just draining all of my juice. And so, like, I have to drop, like, for the light side, you know, I can beat in the dark side. I can just eventually just, like, toxic stall him out. Like, I just poison him and wait a long time. But for the light side, I have to drop down the difficulty to, like, casual. And even then, it's, like, a huge pain in the ass because he has so much health and just dodges everything. And I can't keep poisoning him because I run out of stuff. It is a miserable slog of a boss fight. Anyway, you eventually get him down. He's like, I knew I didn't have the juice. And I'm like, yeah, you didn't have the juice. And I fucking kill him.
Juice.
Dude, he doesn't have it. He's not the guy. He doesn't have the power, right? He's a punk. He's a loser. And he's like, I knew I was a loser. And I'm like, yep, you're a loser. You kill him. I get dark side points for killing him, even in the light side. I'm like, this is stupid. I don't care. Like, there's like an option. Were you given
any other? Oh, okay.
There's an option where it's like, you know, Malik, like there's a chance for you to turn to the light side, maybe in another life or something like that. And I'm just like, that's dumb. I'm just gonna say fuck you and kill him. Like, it really wants you to be the biggest weenie, like freaking. You're like a child, like a teen pastor or something.
Spineless.
It's terrible. I hate how they make the light side in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get an ending based on your ending. In the dark side ending, you, Basila, like have destroyed the Republic fleet, and then it like shows a cutscene of you like walking out to like a big military parade, being like, yes, the galaxy is ours, the Republic's in shambles, the Sith is here to rule, and here's Revan here to rule it. And you like walk out and you like nod approvingly or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then the light side, you basically just get the ending of A New Hope, where it's like you get presented with medals by the Republic. and you're there with all your friends. Yay.
The end.
The end.
Oh boy. So I take it you like the dark side ending more.
No, I mean they're both dumb. Like these are both letdown endings because they both don't like feel particularly cathartic to the plot line that's been going on.
Yes.
It's just like,
granted, this was like 2005 or something.
I know,
so
but like to have it
time,
I still feel like it was pretty bad for the time. Like it to be like basically, hey, do you want the ending of A New Hope or do you want an ending of Revenge of the Sith? That's basically what happens.
I mean, they're working with LucasArts. Well, maybe. Okay, Bioware. They only did the first KOTOR. They didn't do the second one. Obsidian Entertainment took on the prequel or the sequel because Bioware didn't want to be like cast as just a Star Wars developer for the rest of time. So maybe they like didn't make it too good at the end because they're like, we don't want them to want us to make another one.
I don't think that's why they did that. I think it was just like
I tried.
The effort was not
tried
there.
to give them the grace.
I mean, it's disappointing
know.
because like the game up to this point is like a lot more nuanced and interesting, and you can do a lot of really interesting stuff. Like you can do the slave rebellion thing in Kashyyyk, and like you can have the Wookiees push off the Circa Corporation entirely, like just by killing all of them, and that's like pretty cool. But you don't have anything with that kind of gusto in this ending at all.
What's like a good game ending?
What is or
well, like what? Okay, so
I mean, the Mass Effect games, like 1 and 2, have better endings.
Here's the problem: those games import into each other, so you're not really necessarily judging it by the end because it's technically not the end of the story, and that's why Mass Effect 3 ending was so like.
But like, it is the end of those games.
But like, I think it's hard to. Yeah, I think it's hard to end these games because it's like everyone can play so differently, so it's hard to come up with something.
I mean, I feel like Halo 3 had a pretty good ending, I thought. Or like a pretty decent ending.
I've played Reach 1 and 4. I haven't played the other ones to their entirety. Doesn't he just go into stasis pod or something? Like, wake me up when you need me or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, Master Chief goes MIA at the end of it. But, like, that's... I mean... It's just having this be such a straightforward and, like, cartoony ending for a thing that has otherwise been pretty nuanced is a bummer.
Yeah. I mean, I've just always been... up until now where there's, like, more games that are my style, I was just like, beggars can't be choosers. This is the game for me that'll come out for the next 5 years. I'll take what I can get. So I didn't judge it as harshly.
It doesn't like invalidate the game. Like I still think the rest of it is very solid. It's just like this is the way that it deploys like light side and dark side as ideas. It feels like it holds the rest of the game back as opposed to being a thing you can play with and like be interesting about.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess that's why it's because it's a Jedi game. If you're playing as a like not Jedi where the whole world knows that's dark versus light, and that's how it goes down.
Well, it's just interesting because like in the Mass Effect games, like you can be a Paragon or Renegade, which is like basically the same thing, but that doesn't like affect your ending that much. It's
more so just the approach. Like, are you gonna be nice? Are you gonna be kind of a jerk but still get the job done? How
are you gonna act in conversations? Like it doesn't really affect how the game literally ends. Like, those are decisions you make based on other things, like what kind of ending you get. It's not based on if you're a good guy or a bad guy. It's like, are you going to take the time to rescue the council? Are you going to prioritize going over here? Are you going to do this mission with, like, your teammates? Mm-hmm. Right? Am I remembering that correctly? Yeah. It's not based on, like, charisma score or something?
I mean, let's see.
I mean, some of those decisions are gated by it.
Yeah, there's, like, okay, so, for example, I play as a Paragon. So, the first Mass Effect, you have this final boss fight with Saren at the council's whatever at the Citadel. And you can talk him into like not fighting, and then he'll just like shoot himself in the head, but then his body like gets overtaken by the Reaper tech, so you still have to fight him, but I think it's like one less step in fighting him. So like in the end it doesn't really change that much, but there's little because I don't think that's ever referenced ever again in There's barely mention of Saren ever again in the rest of Mass Effect.
But yeah, so you basically skip a boss phase.
It's very minor. It's just more, like how you're perceived by, not important characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and like the decisions you actually make are based on if you want these things around, right? Like whether or not you save the council is based on whether or not you want to save the council, not if you are nice or if you're mean.
Yeah.
Like you can be a paragon and still not save the council.
I'm trying to think if there's
whereas like this forces you
anything.
to be like KOTOR forces you to either betray everybody and become a Sith Lord or to just like fully buy into the Republic's bullshit as like a lackey. Those are your two options, and like it forces you into them.
Well, so the Old Republic, Star Wars: The Old Republic, which is the MMO kind of based off this by Bioware. It came out in 2011, I believe, went free to play in 2012. That's when I started playing it because I was a poor college kid. But it's like post KOTOR, but you can play. There's like, I think 4 classes for Empire or Republic side. But within those classes, you can choose to play either light side or dark side. So, like, you could be bad on the Republic side, or you could be good on the Empire side. So that's a little bit kind of interesting. So, because I play those games, or, when it first came out, I just played it by myself. Like, technically it's an MMO, but you don't have to play with other people ever. I don't know. It'd be interesting to listen to you tear that game apart. Maybe we could play something together.
Yeah, maybe... I don't think I was tearing this game apart.
Well, no. I just mean that the Old Republic, like it can't.
It doesn't have MMO gameplay. I hate MMO gameplay. I think it's terrible.
Like you don't. But here's the thing: you don't have to do any of that. There's like supplemental things, but you don't. What do you mean?
Like, I associate MMOs with, like, hey, do your dailies, do these tasks, do this repetitive thing, like, do a fetch quest.
No,
like, it's just like a bunch of busy work
things
nonstop.
There's, like, that stuff's optional. You don't have to do it, though. Like, okay. I don't think it super pesters you to, because you can just, like, dismiss quests so that they don't show up on
Okay. Maybe that'd be fine.
Because you don't, because, I mean, lately, because there's essentially it's 8 different origin or 8 completely different stories that you can play through. So some of the more recent ones I've done, I'm just like, okay, skip through all conversations that aren't plot related just because it'll take forever. I'm not doing any of the side stuff. Because it's okay, so it's free to play, right? So the way that they make it to where there's incentive to subscribe is that you gain experience slower. But, like, if you just do the work, then you can compensate for that. And then, like, there is, like, a store, but it's mostly just mounts or pets or cosmetic things. So it doesn't affect gameplay, really. I mean, it's the only MMO I've ever played.
You have to trade off money for time. I don't have a lot of time.
No. Well, I mean, it's just, like, how fast you level up, but you can still complete the plot without.
You're not leveled up?
Yeah, like I don't think you're gonna fail at things because you're not paying to be a higher level. I think you just.
But am I gonna have to grind to be a high enough level to pass like story stuff? Because it requires.
I feel like that wasn't a thing I remember experiencing. Like the plot things aren't too crazy, and you have like a little companion with you, so there's somebody there to heal you when you're doing your stuff.
I might just watch a video. I don't really know if I want to play this.
Let's play together.
This does not sound like a fun game to play.
No.
Is the gameplay even fun? Because it sounds like it's going to be a bunch of busy work.
Okay. I tried.
I mean,
we gotta find something to play together.
Yeah, we can find something to play together.
I have this problem where like thinking about games makes me nostalgic, and then I want to replay them, but that means downloading them, and then by the time they're downloaded, I'm like, The
Well,
moment's passed.
it's like unfortunate for me because like I want to play games with people, but like I feel like all of the multiplayer games that are popular are all gameplay styles that I hate because it's like do a bunch of busy work, build a thing so you can extract a resource that'll let you build another thing that'll let you extract a different resource, and you do that.
Okay,
because
you like playing games for the gameplay. I like playing games for like the story and characters,
well,
and I would play any gameplay. I play a damn racing game if there was like, I had my own character and there's motivation and stuff. Like, God.
Yeah.
Like there's
stuff to play.
Like there's this little horse riding game that is like kind of making, horse games aren't necessarily like giving a lot of effort. That's just like shitty games they sell to like 8-year-old girls. But like that's a game where like if they could put story, it'd be cool, like just make things more interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I just get tired if the gameplay's not very good.
I don't know. Maybe we need to play something.
Or if it's like based on doing chores.
Oh,
you can find something. Anyway.
See, okay, my time is Sandrock would be so good. Okay, sorry. Do I have
any final thoughts about KOTOR?
I don't know when you'll play KOTOR 2. Despite Bioware being one of my favorite developers, maybe not so much in recent years, but I actually think I might enjoy KOTOR 2, which is by Obsidian instead. Which is interesting because they're also the ones they're like the runner-up Bioware because Bioware made this Neverwinter Nights game and then they didn't do the sequel, and Obsidian Entertainment did the sequel for that as well. So they're just kind of like, I don't know, chasing crumbs that Bioware's leaving, but
Obsidian did the Fallout games, right? Like the original one and 2.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't play this.
And then they did.
That makes sense though. All these RPG things are,
Worlds or something. Like they're pretty good. Like my understanding of Obsidian's like they're pretty good at like more nuanced writing in terms of like presenting options, presenting like interesting conflicts and that kind of thing. Even if they don't like, it doesn't hit every time. That's my understanding. Like, I would probably play the Fallout games, like 1 and 2, if the gameplay wasn't atrocious, because I've like tried playing it, and I hate how that game plays.
Okay. Yeah, see? Neverwinter Nights 2. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2. Okay. Interesting. They kind of have a variety of different things. The Stick of Truth. That's a far cry from KOTOR, the South Park game.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna play the South Park game, thanks.
Nope. But yeah, I think I enjoy the story of, because right, the Revan reveal plot, that's really good. I like the story of the second one more because it feels like it's more focused on your character, not as who they used to be, but like I don't know, it's good. It's cool. It's got more council stuff. More critical of the council. You'll like that probably. Jedi
We'll
council.
like that.
Yeah. It's good. Combat's pretty similar. You got this gross old lady on your squad. She's not as endearing as Jolie. Okay, I guess that's the KOTOR.
That's KOTOR. Good game. I had a good time. I think if you do what Sarah did as a child and just play all the way up to the end and then just not play the end, I think you basically got the whole experience. You don't even need to play the end.
Yeah, just watch the end cutscene on YouTube or something.
Yeah, it doesn't contribute very much, but everything
it doesn't import, so it doesn't matter. Yeah.
No consequences for not doing it.
Nope. Cool. Well,
all right. That wraps up our first bonus.
Yeah.
Episode.
So maybe the next thing will actually be anime related,
which has like an even more specific audience maybe than like our mainline show.
Popular anime show.
Have you wanted to listen to people talk about this game from 2003 that I'm sure very few people remember or have even played in the first place?
It's a great game. Everyone should know about it.
Where we spoil the whole thing.
Yeah, well, it is like 20 years old.
Listen, if you're listening to this, I'm assuming you've either played this game or you just like listening to us talk and you don't care.
Yeah, you like us. Yep, that's exactly what it is.
You just vaguely like Star Wars. Like I said in the episode I recorded today, go watch the Clone Wars and Rebels. Especially if you like KOTOR, you should definitely watch those two things. They're very good.
I guess I'll recommend, like, hey, it's free to play. Might as well try out the Old Republic. I really like making all my characters look cool. And then everyone gets to see how cool my characters look if you do multiplayer. Because I'm like, wow, their characters look like trash. Mine is so much cuter than theirs. Yeah, okay, so we'll catch you guys next time. Whenever that'll be, from whenever I get around to editing this episode, which I'm gonna try not to be a crazy person when I edit and like do it not meticulously. I also want you guys to know that I may sound like I'm choppy or like I'm cutting myself mid-sentence editing, but that's just my brain. Like, I just interrupt myself and change the direction and like answer my own questions in my head a lot in conversation. So I apologize if you're confused by my
I'm cutting all this
stuff.
out. I'm not including this.
What? Oh, are you gonna edit this?
Yeah, I edited the first one.
Okay.
I'm not going to include your, like, apologize for this, like, very specific thing that you mostly cut out anyway. I'm not going to include that. I'm probably going to cut out the part where we talked about the MMO for a long time, too.
It's relevant.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Did I make you sad? I can leave it in.
I don't know. I find, like, the streaming and this podcast, maybe it's because I just don't talk that much because I don't hang out with people that much. But I'm like, this is like how I get out my thoughts and feelings. Just by
you're like
ranting.
Guilt about things that nobody. You're like, sometimes I'm choppy, but you're not choppy in the podcast because you edit it. Nobody knows what you're talking about.
Like a psychopath. Okay, I'm gonna try to cut loose and be crazy and not edit every breathing sound.
Yeah, just use the macros I'm talking about. Use the effects. This is what I'm saying.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
All right. I'm gonna open this can now on mic. Here we go.
Ew.
Yeah.
What is that?
Good Foley.
Soda?
That is a flavored seltzer. It's black cherry.
Ew.
How do you want this opening to go?
I don't like.
Welcome to Shoujo Side Channel.
Sojo.
Welcome to Soju, where we just drink a bunch of soju and get drunk on mic.
Oh,
I would do that. I actually have soju. I could do that.
I do not. I don't know. My brother has like a thing of wine. I don't drink very much, but maybe someday
it is like
we'll do
1
something
o'clock.
like that.
So.
Yeah.